Hello folks, Scott here with my 10 cards from the Love from Lizi December 2018 card kit. I'm sorry this is a little late. I'm still having problems catching up from my overlong Thanksgiving vacation. I feel like Christmas is tomorrow and I haven't done anything. No. As usual, I do take the cardstock Lizi provides in her kits and trim those down to A2 card bases. I did swap out the smooth Copic-friendly cardstock that Lizi gives us for some of my regular 110-pound cardstock from my stash. Now, for some reason, the stickers that came in the kit really caught my eye. I think it was the fact that those two birds are on the top of that sticker sheet looking at each other. I thought this would be a nice, easy way to get into this kit and start playing with it. This is on the smoky gray card base. And we've got a fun thanking of you card. This is using those nice puffy stickers. This reminded me of a couple, the brightly colored male bird and the drab colored female bird. They're looking at each other. The thanking of you sentiment was right by them on that sticker sheet, so I couldn't help but think they all belonged together. I used this piece of that striped pattern paper, cut that down to size, and glued that directly to my gray card base. I thought this pattern paper was interesting and kind of gave us little perches for our birds to stand on. I then added a couple of strips of that ivory lace trim, that lace ribbon that we got in the kit. That's really pretty ribbon, goes very nicely on that gray. I did remove the sticky from the back of all of the stickers and then mounted them up with some foam tape for a little dimension there. And then, of course, I grabbed one of the purple buttons. I was going to use my pink button, but it didn't really go with all the colors on this card. So I used one of those purple heart buttons between the two birds here, 3 little drops of the Nuvo drops over here in the corner. And this lace trim is so nice. It adds so much texture to the front of this card. I just made sure to use plenty of glue right on the edges so it wouldn't fray when I trimmed it down. That's all glued down with my multimedia mat. This is a nice way to ease myself into this Spring is Coming card kit. Thinking of you, using the puffy stickers in the kit. I still felt like I'm getting used to this card kit, still trying to really feel it out for what it is. And I remember seeing Lizi stamp and emboss on one of her doilies in the kit. I always watch Lizi's 10 card videos to see what she's thinking when she puts these kits together. And she stamped on one of the doilies, so I thought I'd give that a try. I'm not much of a doily person, but if you can stamp directly on it, then I think there's a little bit more usefulness to be had there. So this is on one of the ivory vanilla card bases, and we've got one of the sentiments from the card kit, have a beautiful day. I stamped that in the center of one of those doilies with some wilted violet distress oxide ink. I thought that was really a pretty close match to all of those purple buttons. I did go ahead and glue 2 of these doilies together just for a little stiffness on them. You know, those doilies are really thin. I did mount that up on a little piece of that pink and white cardstock that I cut with a die. I mounted that up on that so you've got a little bit of pattern behind the holes on the doily, and then mounted both of those to the vanilla card base with some more foam tape. So there's some good dimension going there. I thought have a beautiful day said sunshine to me. So I used my little banner bunting pieces and a number of the heart buttons to create a little sunburst around here. A really bright and cheerful card. I did go in with the Nuvo drops and added a bunch of the Nuvo drops on the doily itself to kind of bring both the inside and the outside together. I like stamping on those doilies. It actually kind of highlights the texture that's on those doilies, which they all have a little bit of texture. Have a beautiful day. I feel like I'm getting to know this card kit a little bit more, and I just might consider using doilies more often if I can stamp on them. So I think everyone knows that I'm not a big fan of pink. I know that Lizi teases me about that all of the time. And this kit certainly had its share of pink in it. So I thought I would, quote unquote, embrace the pink, and let's do a pink card, a bona fide, yes, I'm pink card. So on a white card base, this is what we came up with. Using the sticker again, that congratulations sticker. Really nice card, and though it is my pink card for this set of cards, it doesn't scream pink at you. I actually took that spot gloss pattern paper and I trimmed away the dark pink stripes from that and put all of the lighter pink stripes together to create my background for this card. Now, I noticed that these little chevron stripes between the wide stripes on this pattern paper were the same pattern that was on this plain pattern paper. So I cut some strips away from this pattern paper and use those to bridge between the light pink pattern papers. So using those two pattern papers, I kind of came up with my own pattern paper that wasn't quite as pink as the original, but it's still pink. I matted that on a piece of the pink cardstock, that plain pink cardstock, and then mounted that to a piece of that dark, almost burgundy cardstock for a thin mat behind that. I needed a little bit more at the top and bottom of this card, so I dug around in my Spectrum Noir markers for something that matched this congratulations banner. Lo and behold, I did find that the PL1, that's purple 1, was actually a really good match for that congratulations sticker. This white lace trimming takes alcohol markers really nicely, very well. I colored up a bunch of this trim and then attached it behind the top and bottom of my main panel and glued that down to my white card base. I then, of course, took the puffy stickers, 2 puffy stickers from our sticker sheet. I neutralized the sticky on the back and added some foam tape behind them for a little dimension, grabbed 3 of our little paper flowers and made a little bouquet above the right side of that sentiment. A really nice congratulations card. Yes, this is as pink as I get with this card kit this month. And yes, that is a little butterfly down there too. Now, it's not that I don't like butterflies. Of course, I love butterflies. They're beautiful, they're colorful. I just think that butterflies are a little bit overused as far as decorative elements go. I've been really lucky through my card kit subscriptions and everything. This is the very first time that I've actually gotten a stamp set that featured butterflies. I finished my year with Simon Says Stamp the month before the next stamp set was a butterfly stamp set, so I avoided that butterfly stamp set. But I have to admit that the butterflies in this stamp set are really nice, highly detailed, and eminently colorable. But since I just did a big pink card, I thought we'd try a different color and use the butterflies this time. Again, this is on the Ivory Vanilla card base. And we've got a Spread More Love card featuring the 3 large butterfly stamps from our stamp set. This is really nice. This is my blue card in answer to my pink card. I took that nice glittery blue flower pattern paper, cut that down to size, glued that down to my vanilla card base, outlined it with some of the very thin peel-off stickers from our kit. I cut an 1.5 inch piece of this nice textured soft blue pattern paper, attached it to the left side here with some of the medium-sized peel-offs going down the sides. Now, I did use our stencil from this kit to do some ink blending on all of these butterflies before I stamped them. I used the Hero Arts Soft Sky ink. It was a really nice match to this soft blue that's in the card kit. I ink blended through all three of those stencils, and then I stamped the stamps using VersaFine Onyx Black ink, and then fussy cut them all out. Easy to fussy cut. I didn't bother to fussy cut the antenna, but I did stamp the antenna on that little blue panel underneath each one of the butterflies. I folded up their wings a little bit and attached them to this card base. I thought it would be great fun to try and stamp this sentiment on top of that pattern paper. It worked really good. I used my Onyx Black ink again. Of course, there's some little glitter parts there. You can see that reflected in the lights. So I had to take a Sharpie marker. I took a fine point Sharpie marker in there and filled in the spots of the sentiment where the glitter was, because no ink is going to color that glitter half as well as a good permanent marker will. But I think that works very nicely on that pattern paper. Spread more love. It's very readable. I added 3 of our white pearl embellishments to the top right for a little balance. There's a little bit of a Spectrum Noir shimmer marker on top of all of these butterflies. I really like all of the sentiments in this kit. They are very pretty and work in unique places on our cards. This is my blue card. We've got a pink card and a blue card. So we've got pinks and purples, blues and butterflies. I wanted to see if we could make a card that actually screamed masculine from this card kit. So on the forest green card base, we've got Live, Laugh, Love. First off, that's a great sentiment stamp. I'm sure that will get lots of use. Now, I was really tickled with this card because I figured we could take some of that gold satin mirror specialty paper that we got in the kit and use that to cover up the extremely pink stripes on this plaid pattern paper. So I cut this front panel with one of my Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle dies. I centered the plaid pattern nicely within that frame and die cut that out. I then cut a bunch of 1/8 inch strips of that gold specialty paper and covered up the big pink parts of this plaid with that gold. I then matted that whole piece on another piece of gold specialty paper as a big mat, just 1/8 of an inch mat all the way around, glued those both down to a green card base. I stamped the sentiment with Iced Spruce Distress Oxide ink. Well, I say that 10 times fast. And I did do some clear embossing on top of that so it would match the spot gloss that's on that pattern paper. A plaid is always going to read as a little bit masculine, even with pink in it. I think if we neutralize the pink a little, we've got a really sharp, really strong, very guy card here. Live, laugh, love. I think the shine from the specialty cardstock and from that spot gloss pattern paper is more than enough specialty on this card. No extra frills needed. Okay, I think that's enough obsessing over the themes in this kit and the colors in this kit. Let's have some fun with this. I go back again to that forest green card base. Let's do some coloring. Yes, we've got a lovely thank you card. I stamped 5 of the butterfly stamps on some Bristol Smooth cardstock using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink and colored these all up using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. That's a Scott card for you. Again, those butterfly stamps are really nice, finely detailed, perfect for coloring in a medium like this. Nice, bright colors. I did trim this Bristol Smooth cardstock down with my stitched rectangle die and matted that on a piece of the Silver's specialty cardstock before gluing that all down to my forest green card base. I did take that cobalt blue Zig Clean Color marker and colored up spot on my Bristol Smooth cardstock, die cut the thank you out of that, die cut it again, glued those both together, and then glued those directly to my card base for my sentiment down here that matches the coloring on the butterflies perfectly. A few sequins from the sequin mix add just the right touch of sparkle to this card. A lovely thank you card. I like those stamps. They're almost recognizable butterflies. A beautiful card, beautiful stamps. Okay, now I've basically used all of the stamps in the stamp set. I have used all of the butterflies. I have used all of the sentiments. I haven't used all of the little bitty butterfly bodies. So let's start playing with our own sentiments now. We got on a white card base. Don't quit before the miracle happens. I tried to stick with the whole encouragement theme of this card kit on the sentiments that I create for these cards. Don't quit before the miracle happens. This is that butterfly pattern paper that I made a little 2 1/8 inch panel down the center and then fussy cut the butterflies that extended beyond that panel. Now, are those butterflies or are those moths? Kind of looks like moths to me. I've done this before with some other pieces of pattern paper. I really like doing a fussy cut with the pattern paper. I think it really pops the pattern and creates some beautiful backgrounds for our cards. I did grab that blue-gray polka dot pattern paper and cut that to size, glued that down to our card front. This center panel is attached to the background with some foam tape, so it adds a little dimension there. I did, of course, use my Silhouette software to create that sentiment. That is using the Noteworthy font and the Sign Painter font. I printed that directly on a scrap of that polka dot pattern paper and then cut that out with one of my Spellbinder's deckled rectangle dies. I die cut that sentiment and a couple more pieces of white, glued them all together for a nice chunky sentiment, attached that to the card front with some foam tape. I reached into those pearls again and used those little tiny pearls to accent the center dots on that polka dot sheet on both sides of this center panel. Really nice card. Don't quit before the miracle happens. An appropriate sentiment for many occasions. Now, I haven't used that ivory pearl embossing powder that came in our kit. It's a new color for Love from Lizi. So I wanted to play with that, and I thought it would look interesting on the smoky gray card base. So on that card base, we've got, if nothing ever changed, there'd be no butterflies. Now, there's a sentiment that actually has the word butterfly in it. If nothing ever changed, there'd be no butterflies. So true. I embossed the 2 largest butterfly stamps in a nice easy arc on the top of this card base and emboss that with the ivory pearl. That looks like a really soft, almost translucent gold. Really pretty on this dark paper. I have to try this out and see what that embossing powder looks like on black. It could be very, very interesting. I, of course, turned to my Silhouette for this sentiment using the Rockwell font and the Ballerina script font. I printed that on that blue textured pattern paper. That's that same pattern paper used behind the butterflies here. I cut that out with one of my stitched circle dies, and then I actually just put that down on the card front and used my Emboss It pen to draw a line around that whole die frame and then embossed it. That gives us that nice gold ring of embossing around the sentiment, pulls that sentiment right into those butterflies that are embossed on the top. This is a nice, simple 1-layer card, great texture, great embossing, some lovely shine on this. If nothing ever changed, there'd be no butterflies. I really like this a lot. And that embossing powder is so nice. I wanted to use it some more, so I actually did another butterfly on the inside of the card. Now, on this lighter gray writing surface here, that embossing powder starts to look a little bit more like ivory, but it still has those gold tones to it. Very pretty embossing powder. Okay, on my last 10 card video, you might have seen me playing around with some deco foil transfer gel and some rainbow foil, and thought I would try it again here. Other than some ink blending through the stencil, I haven't really used that stencil in the kit yet. So on a white card base, this is our next card. You Can Fly. I laid that butterfly stencil right down on the front of my card base and used my deco foil transfer gel through that stencil. I got a really nice, very smooth transfer of that gel down. And once this had dried and I added the rainbow foil and sent it through my laminating machine and it came out this well, I jumped for joy. I was thrilled. In fact, I was so thrilled that I decided I wouldn't stamp any bodies on these butterflies. I just knew if I tried to stamp any bodies on these that I would destroy this card front. So I just didn't do it. I did create this simple sentiment, you can fly, you can fly, you can fly, which I think is just perfect for this. Of course, I did that on my silhouette again. This is the Blackjack font. I tried one black on white. I tried one white on black, and I liked that one so much better. I thought it really kind of highlighted the beautiful colored butterflies on the top. I did add some sheer shimmer spritz to the top of that sentiment and mounted that down to the card base with a little bit of foam tape behind it. I think that shimmer mist really almost makes that feel like an embossed sentiment. You can fly, and yes, with all of those wings, somebody should be able to fly. I really like this. That rainbow foil is just gorgeous and works just as well on a white background as it did last month on a black background. You can fly. So before you know it, we've gotten to our last card in the kit. I have to send out a really big shout out to one of my subscribers. Hi, Kate! Who, after seeing me do a couple of those Chibitronic light-up cards in my card videos, sent me this huge batch of LED lights that actually work with those little 3-volt button batteries. The same batteries that the Chibi lights use, but these lights are so much cheaper, like pennies a piece, I think. Look at all of the lights she sent me in various colors. I couldn't resist. I had to take advantage of this generous gift from Kate and make our last card a light-up card. So here we go. We've got You Light Up My Life. Now this looks pretty plain, straightforward, clean, and simple, but there is a press here, and we get a light-up butterfly. Oh, I really like this quite a bit. I did experiment a little with these little LED lights to see if I could get them to work, see if they would work okay. This is one of those little 3-volt button cell batteries. You attach one side of the LED to one side of the battery, attach the other side of the LED to the other side of the battery. So there's the top, there's the bottom, a little channel built here to hold the battery. You drop the battery in, push the flap down, and it lights up. Now, like the Chibi sticker lights that go on the top of the copper tape, these lights have to go on top of the copper tape also. If you put these little leads underneath the tape, they won't get any electricity because the adhesive won't conduct the electricity. But I did a little practice run here. Works very good. I tell you, every bit as good as those chibi lights, which at their cheapest are $1 a piece. Now, I did use the stencil to draw the butterfly wings on this green textured pattern paper. I cut that out with my craft knife, and then I took a second piece of paper, cut to the same size, and I repeated the opening through that piece of paper. That was black. I took a second piece of paper in black, matched up the center opening, matched up the side, so I have 2 pieces. Now, I took that stamp, and I did use Stays On ink to stamp that stamp on a piece of vellum. I stamped it 3 or 4 times to get just as dark of an impression, just as dark of a stamp as I could get. Set that aside to dry. I did send this front pattern paper through my printer to print up the Light Up My Life. I knew I wanted that to go along with this U die cut, and that's from a Thank You Scripty border die from Lawn Fawn. I just used the U part of that. So we've got You Light Up My Life. The Light Up My Life is in the Bradley hand font. There will be links to all of these fonts at my website on cardcutups.com if you're interested. Remember that the Silhouette software is free. You can play with that Silhouette software and print using that Silhouette software without owning a machine at all. It is free. Go to my website. There'll be links to that there. So I wired my light down to the front of my card base, the white card base. I had stamped one of the butterfly bodies on top of the card front using Stays On ink, and I did emboss that with some clear embossing powder. I did stretch that a little longer to get those nice big antennae really showing. I just stamped the top half of the stamp on the top half of the butterfly, and then stamped the bottom half of the stamp a little lower on the butterfly. That completes our butterfly. Once all of my stamping had dried, I glued that piece of vellum to the back of the opening. I then took a piece of this glassine paper that I have in my stash. I took a piece of that, added it to the front of my black cardstock, that's cut exactly the same as this pattern paper. I glued those 2 pieces together. So this is a piece of pattern paper, the vellum, the see-through glassine, and then a black cardstock behind that. So you get no light bleed anywhere else but that butterfly. I added 2 layers of foam tape all the way around the edges and around my lights in the center. Attached that card front to the card base. Press here is stamped and embossed in white using the My Favorite Things interactive labels stamp set. Again, links to all these products will be on my website at cardcutups.com. I did die cut the U out of white cardstock. I die cut 2 of those and glued those together before gluing those down to the card front. You light up my life. So anyway, I had to do something a little special for everybody at Love from Lizi. One more light up card featuring a butterfly. That's my 10 cards for the Love from Lizi December 2018 card kit. I really enjoyed making these cards much more than I thought I would when I first received this kit. There's lots of opportunities here. That stamp set is actually quite nice with terrific sentiments and some beautiful butterfly stamps. Of course, I have gobs of extras left over. Looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full sheets of that specialty pattern paper left. That means I used 3 of those. I only have 2 full sheets of the regular pattern paper still to use, so I used 6 of those sheets. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I used 9 sheets of pattern paper. That's not really bad. Of course, I believe I used every single stamp here, except for some of those little itty-bitty body stamps. I think I can be forgiven for that. I did, of course, use that stencil in a few different ways. I tell you, that stencil should work really great with embossing paste or glitter paste or anything that's a really nice arrangement of different sizes of butterflies. You don't have to stamp those. You can just glimmer them. I used a great deal more of the stickers than I ever thought I would. I only used a few of the peel-offs this month. This is the Sky Blue Mirror peel-offs. Very pretty peel-offs, but I only really made one blue card. And I did use a little bit of just about everything in our embellishment pack. The only thing I really didn't use was that With Love heart die in the kit. I think that's about the only thing in the kit that I didn't use. All of these extras will find loving homes in my stash. That's one of the best things about the Love from Lizi kits. You'll almost always have more. Well, thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. I believe this kit is still available at lovefromlizi.com. If I've managed to spark your interest and you'd like to join in on some of that early spring fun, or if you're a huge fan of butterflies, here's some really nice butterfly stamps here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for spending your time with me. Thank you for being a part of my life. I want to extend my best wishes and happy holiday thoughts to you, your family, everybody you care about. I hope everybody has a happy, healthy, and safe holiday. I'm sending you my love and best wishes for a great new year. Please share this with everybody you know. Have a great holiday. Don't run with scissors, and happy crafting. If you'd like more detailed information, better pictures, and product links, please visit my website at cardcutups.com.